Let's be honest, Disney's live-action remakes are a wild ride. For every movie that genuinely recaptures the magic, there's another that feels like a high-tech photocopy of a story we once loved, made more for money than for meaning. Some have made billions, and others have crashed and burned spectacularly. Today, we're sorting through the wreckage and the riches. We're taking 9 of Disney's biggest, most talked about live-action remakes and ranking them from the absolute worst to the surprising best. We'll look at the box office, the critical reception, and whether they actually managed to justify their own existence. And just so we're clear, we're focusing on 9 key films to really get into the details. So let's start at the very bottom of the barrel. Coming in dead last, a spectacular train wreck of pre-release controversy and post-release disappointment is Snow White. This film wasn't just a misfire, it became a masterclass in how to alienate your audience. With a colossal budget ballooning to a reported $271 million, its worldwide gross of just over $205 million makes it one of Disney's most expensive bombs to date. The trouble was brewing long before its release. Public comments from its lead actress criticizing the 1937 classic created a firestorm, and the decision to replace the 7 dwarfs with CGI magical creatures to avoid stereotypes sparked widespread backlash. The final film was slammed by critics, who called the computer-generated characters terrifying and fake, even landing them 2 Razzie Awards. The movie ended up with a dismal 43% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was a joyless film that seemed ashamed of its own source material, and it proved that all the controversy in the world doesn't matter if the final movie just isn't good. Next up is Tim Burton's Dumbo. This wasn't the kind of disaster that Snow White was, but it represents a different kind of failure, a total failure of imagination. On paper, who better than Tim Burton to tell a story about a circus outcast? But in practice, the film was a grim, visually drab, and emotionally empty experience. It took the beautifully simple 64-minute animated classic and buried it under a pointless human story nobody asked for. With a budget of $170 million, its box office return of $353 million worldwide was a huge disappointment for Disney. While it may have scraped by, it never soared, mostly because it lacked the one thing that made the original special: heart. Critics weren't impressed, giving it a rotten score of 46% on Rotten Tomatoes. Dumbo is the perfect example of a remake that gets hopelessly lost by overcomplicating a simple, perfect story. Okay, here's where things get controversial. How can a movie that pulled in a mind-blowing $1.66 billion worldwide be ranked this low? The answer is simple: cash doesn't equal quality. The Lion King from 2019 is maybe the most soulless film on this list. Director Jon Favreau, who we'll talk about again, perfected photorealistic CGI to create a stunningly real world. The problem? In making the animals look real, he stripped them of all their emotion. The animated characters could show joy, fear, and heartbreak. These realistic lions, they just looked, well, like lions. The result was a shot-for-shot remake that had none of the energy or heart of the original. Critics largely agreed, landing it a rotten score of 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. While people were wowed by the visuals, many felt it was an unnecessary and cold retelling. It's a technical masterpiece, but an emotional void, proving that sometimes realism is the enemy of magic. Few remakes have had to swim through choppier waters than The Little Mermaid. Targeted by racist backlash from the moment its casting was announced, the film was already fighting an uphill battle. With a massive budget of around $250 to $300 million, its worldwide gross of about $570 million meant it struggled to become profitable, making it a financial letdown for Disney. So why isn't it lower on the list? 2 words: Halle Bailey. At its heart, the film has a truly star-making performance. Bailey is incredible as Ariel. Her voice is stunning, and she brings a powerful emotion to the character that critics almost universally praised. The film itself is a mixed bag. The visual designs for Flounder and Sebastian are questionable, and the pacing drags. But Bailey's performance is so captivating that she single-handedly elevates the entire project. It earned a mixed 67% from critics, but a massive 94% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, showing that a brilliant lead can shine even in a messy, controversial production. When the first pictures of Will Smith's genie hit the internet, people lost their minds. Many were convinced this film was going to be an absolute train wreck, and yet Aladdin proved everyone wrong. Guy Ritchie's high-energy direction gave Agrabah a fresh, kinetic feel, and the film became a massive success, earning over $1 billion worldwide. The key to its success was that it understood the assignment. It wasn't about replacing Robin Williams. Will Smith made the genie his own, bringing a hip-hop flair and genuine heart to the role. The fantastic chemistry between leads Mina Massoud and Naomi Scott didn't hurt either. While critics were split, giving it a 57% on Rotten Tomatoes, audiences fell in love, giving it an amazing 94% audience score. Aladdin is just pure, joyful fun. If Aladdin was a surprise, Beauty and the Beast was a sure thing. This was Disney playing it safe, and boy did it pay off. The film was an incredibly faithful remake of the 1991 animated masterpiece, recreating iconic moments and songs with a stunning cast and lavish production design. The result was a box office monster, grossing over $1.2 billion worldwide. Critics found it competent and beautiful, giving it a solid 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. But its greatest strength, its faithfulness, was also its biggest weakness. For some, it felt a little pointless, like a gorgeous but uninspired copy of a movie that was already perfect. For millions of others, though, seeing this tale as old as time brought to life so perfectly was exactly what they wanted. It's the definition of a crowd-pleasing blockbuster, executed with polish and class. After the critical and financial faceplant of Snow White, it seemed like audiences might finally be getting tired of Disney's remakes. And then along came Lilo and Stitch. Released in 2025, this film was a breath of fresh, chaotic air and an absolute smash hit, breaking records and grossing over $1 billion worldwide on just a $100 million budget. So what did it get so right? It captured the feeling of the original. Instead of being just another bland copy, it understood that the real magic of Lilo and Stitch is its heart. The story of Ohana, of a broken family finding its way back together, hit home with audiences everywhere. The movie was hilarious, weird, and deeply moving all at once. Critics were positive, giving it a 69%, but audiences adored it, awarding it a 94% verified score on Rotten Tomatoes. It reminded everyone that when Disney focuses on emotion over spectacle, they can still make something truly special. Before the billion-dollar blockbusters and endless controversies, there was Cinderella. This 2015 film, directed by Kenneth Branagh, is often forgotten, but it's easily one of the best. It didn't try to reinvent the story or add some cynical modern twist. It simply told the classic fairy tale with sincerity, elegance, and breathtaking beauty. It was a critical darling, earning an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, with critics praising its earnest and romantic spirit. It was also a huge financial success, making over $543 million on a lean $95 million budget. Lily James was a perfect Cinderella, and Cate Blanchett was deliciously wicked as the stepmother. In an era of remakes trying way too hard to be different, Cinderella stands out for having the confidence to just tell a great story with its whole heart. It's a gorgeous, timeless film that proves you don't need to reinvent the wheel when the message is simple. Have courage and be kind. And here it is, the undisputed king of the jungle and the gold standard for every Disney remake, Jon Favreau's The Jungle Book. This film is a masterpiece. It took the charming, if a little thin, 1967 animated movie and transformed it into a thrilling, epic, and emotionally powerful adventure. The visual effects were revolutionary, creating a world of talking animals that felt completely real. But unlike Favreau's later work on The Lion King, the technology was always in service of the story, not the other way around. The voice cast was absolute perfection, from Bill Murray's chill Baloo to Idris Elba's genuinely terrifying Shere Khan. Critically adored with a near-perfect 94% on Rotten Tomatoes and a massive box office of over $966 million, The Jungle Book is that rare remake that is arguably better than the original. It honors its source material while being a spectacular film in its own right. Without a doubt, it's the best live-action remake Disney has ever made. So that's the list. From the disaster of Snow White to the triumph of The Jungle Book, Disney's remake experiment has been a roller coaster. The billion-dollar hits prove the studio isn't stopping anytime soon, but the failures show there's a growing fatigue with lazy filmmaking. The best films we talked about, like The Jungle Book, Cinderella, and Lilo and Stitch, prove that the formula for success isn't just nostalgia, it's respect for the original, paired with artistry, innovation, and most importantly, heart. But that's just my ranking. I want to see yours. Rank your top 3 and bottom 3 in the comments below. And if you made it this far, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more breakdowns, and share this video with a friend. Thanks for watching!